So what I started building is now I have a WordPress site. If you go to my site, rutecky.com, like Mike had said, it's one of the most popular review sites for this niche. I get thousands of visitors. I have a review site, and the site is WordPress. So how am I going to build a system to send out emails? Well, it makes sense. I'm going to want to send them from my site. I'm going to be hosting it myself. Why not build a WordPress plugin? That's what I thought to myself. So that's what I did. I started building a WordPress plugin to send out emails. So that way I can send my emails myself and not have to rely on somebody else. Now, I had a little bit of worry when I first got started. The worry that I had was that everybody kept telling me, over and over again, they kept saying things like, if you mail from your own server, you're going to get banned. You're going to get blacklisted. If you mail from your own program or for your own website, you're never going to get on the inbox. And, everybody seemed to think like that these ISP or these email services, AOever, GetResponse, had some kind of like magic trick that made them inbox all the time, that made them get, through all the spam traps and stuff. But I started thinking about that, and it actually didn't make any sense. They didn't really have a magic trick. As a matter of fact, they have a harder time because their reputation is based on what thousands of users do, not just on one person. So I started thinking to myself, logically, it makes sense that if I'm just a regular guy sending out emails, not spamming, I shouldn't have a problem. And that was my logic. It was against like the normal law, the flow that everybody else says. So I guess I'm just an against the grain kind of guy. And I thought to myself, I'm right. I've got to be right. What I'm thinking makes sense. It makes sense that I'm going to have an easier time as long as I'm not a spammer than a system like AOever that has thousands of users and has the potential to have hundreds of spammers slip into their system. It just makes more sense. So I decided to prove it. So I did is I built a system, I put it on my blog, and I started testing it out. Now, I didn't mail my whole list right away because I thought to myself, I haven't been sending emails from my server. If all of a sudden I upload 9,000 people and mail right from the door, maybe the blacklist companies are going to get a little tweaked. They might put up some red flags like, hey, Brett, yesterday you weren't mailing anybody and today you're mailing 9,000. Where did all those emails come from? So what I did was I added a couple of hundred, sent out an email. Then I added a couple of hundred more and I sent out an email. And then I asked for some people on my list to beta test and help me out, and I was just emailing them for a little bit. And slowly I built it up until I got to the point where I had all of my subscribers on my list. And I said, I'm going to send out a promo. I'm going to send out a marketing email and see if I can make some money. And I did. I sent out a marketing email, and it worked well. I got more opens. I got more clicks than I was getting with AOever. Because AOever was, at the time, was still in a little bit of a downslope. They were having problems again. So after doing that a few times and sending out to my list, and I'll show you some of my reviews here. Let me go ahead to my messages here. The first one I actually sent out was quite a while ago. Let me just grab some at random and pick them out and show you here. There's a Viral Source. That was a product. Who did Viral Source, Mike? I don't remember. I did a review for that, though. You can see I got it.
Was that Tom Yevsikov or I don't?
I think it might have been, yeah. I sent out 10,476 emails to Viral Source. Got 2,003 opens, 19% open rate, and 9% click rate. I got 15 unsubscribers. People are always going to unsubscribe every once in a while. That's just the way it is. I'll go ahead and look at WordPress Link Shield. That was Chris Hitman. I sent out a review for that one. And I got 1,952 opens, 19% open rate, 7% click rate. When I was doing these tests, I was worried more about the open rate, not the click rate, because click rate is always dependent on how good my email is. Open rate is how good the plugin is, how good it is at getting them in the inbox. The plugin can't make people click, but it can make people open by getting it in the inbox. So that's what I was always checking to make sure that the open rate was good. And as you can see here, if I show, I'm trying to spread them out so you can see I was actually doing them several times. I've been using this for quite a while in my business. There's another 19% open rate, 2,073, 1,000 unique clicks. That was a good email. And just recently, text response, 19% open rate, 2,038 clicks. You can see I'm actually consistently getting a 19. There's a few in here where they weren't reviews, where I was sending to my own list like a special, like, hey guys, I got something special for you, that I get a higher open rate. I get 22, 23% open rate on those. I've been trying to just show the review one so that way it's a fair assessment of what you'll get when you're doing a marketing email. As you probably can see here, I've been doing this and I've been using this full-time in my business for quite a while. Now, right down here in the middle somewhere, after testing it several times, what I actually did is I called AWeber up, and I said to AWeber, you know what, I don't need you guys anymore. Go ahead and remove me from, remove that list from my account. I didn't close my account. I was a little nervous to close my account. I'll be honest with you. And I still haven't closed my account. It's sitting over here. If I go over to aweber.com here, it's sitting here without any subscribers on it, but it's only $19 a month, and I'm making 40,000, so I wasn't too worried about it. But if we actually go over here to manage lists, you see, I don't have any big review lists. I got 502 subscribers from software opt-ins. That's actually a opt-in form squeeze pages that I have on other people's back end. These just come in. What I do is I just download them. I don't mail to them anymore. But you can see I don't have a review list over here. I have it entirely on Mailit, and that's what I decided to do. I decided to say, you know what, this is working. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bite the bullet. And I'm going to put my faith into my plugin. I believed that I had something that was good. I believed I had a good system. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to put my faith into this plugin, and I'm going to succeed or I'm going to fail based on my own, not dependent on somebody else. And I remember when I told you that I did that, Mike, and you were like, whoa, are you serious?
I was really surprised when you did that, and I was, for me at that time, I think that's what really proved it to me that, because when you first started doing this, I was like, there were all those myths that you were talking about before, like you can't email, like you got to use one of these big companies, you got to pay them monthly fees, you can't do it on your own, you can't break away from these companies and have a one-time payment, and they want you to believe that, of course, but I think when you started saying you're going to create a software, and I was like, okay, well, Brent's a good software developer. I'll let him go out there, and he could do that if you want, sure, but whatever. And you created it, and then you started using it, and you started getting those awesome results from it, and that was really cool. But going and actually taking that leap of faith, and I guess it wasn't really even a leap of faith anymore because you already had the proof behind it, and you deleted that. I think that was a big, I don't know. I think that's made me feel really good about being partnered on this and recommending this to both our affiliate partners and to our customers. Just knowing that it was a quality software. So yeah, you made a lot of people believers when you did that.
You know what I always think about when I hear those myths, those things like, you can't mail from your own server, any kind of myths. There's all kinds of myths in the IT business. You know what I always think about when I hear a lot of those myths, Mike? I haven't told you this story. I'll make it quick because I want to keep people on, but it's an interesting thing. I think about Fruit of the Loom T-shirts. Okay? You might be wondering, what does a myth about autoresponders have to do with Fruit of the Loom T-shirts? Now, I had many, many jobs. Anybody that reads my review or reads my story on my blog will see that I come from a really colorful background. But one of the jobs that I had, I was like 18, I worked at a shirt factory where they made shirts. Now, my job was to go over and take thread to the sewers. It was generally old ladies, or middle-aged ladies, making these shirts and sewing them at piece rate. And I used to take thread to them. And the interesting thing I used to see all the time was there was a woman, and her job was to sew the logo on the shirt, on the little tag. Mm-hmm. And on some of the shirts, she would pull all these shirts from this big bin, and then she would sew the tag or the logo on it, and then she would throw it in one of the other bins based on the tag or the logo she put on. Some shirts she would pull, and she would sew Fruit of the Loom on it, just a tag on the back. The other ones she would pull, and she would throw, and they're all getting pulled from the same bin, all made from the same material, by the same people. She would sew a Nike logo on, and she would throw them in a different bin. And when you go to the store, you see a Fruit of the Loom shirt. You can buy a Fruit of the Loom T-shirt for $3. You can buy a Nike shirt for $20. Exact same thing made by the exact same people. But Nike has people believing that it's better, so they can charge 5 times as much. And that's exactly what a lot of these autoresponders are. And again, I'm not putting these companies down, but they live on that reputation. And people pay it because nobody disputes it. And that's why, from that experience that I had, I thought, I'm not going to just go into the hype. I'm going to build the system because I'm a computer nerd. What the heck? If I build the system and it doesn't work and my logic was proved wrong, no big deal. I'm a nerd. I'm going to code something one way or another. And you know what I found out when I built my plugin is that it is just hype. There's nothing stopping you from emailing from your own host. There's nothing stopping you from emailing from your own system as long as you're not a spammer. you're not going to have a problem. As a matter of fact, there is a company that monitors people's IP addresses. It's a very large company. I'll go over here to senderscore.org. It's a company that's run by ReturnPath. And what they actually do is they monitor IP addresses reputation. Now, if we go over here, if we put in my IP address for my server, I've been using this for several months. Again, if you go here, you can see I've been sending out emails for quite a long time. Hundreds of thousands of emails I've sent out with this from my own server. Go ahead, I'll click and check that I'm not a robot. We'll view the report. And anybody can do this. Anybody's more than welcome to go in to SenderScore and type in my address here. You know, let me go ahead and log in my account so you can see. I'm at 98. I actually was 99. It went down at one point. Oh, my God. But if you look at my, I know, you'll see in a second why that doesn't mean anything, but it's just kind of funny. You can see here my host name for my IP address, bre.rutecky.com. It really is my server. You can see that I'm registered as a high-volume sender. You can actually see my volume. It goes up and down and up and down. That's because that's when I do promos, marketing promos. And notice my score here, though. It's 98. Now, that did go down 1 point. We actually showed this to somebody a couple of days ago. It was 99. But a IP address that's considered a spam IP address has a reputation of below 80. A perfect reputation is 100. My reputation is 98 after sending hundreds of thousands of emails from my own server. It's total nonsense that when people say that they have that companies like Aweber and stuff have some kind of magic bullet trick. They don't. As long as you are a good, decent person sending good, decent emails, not spamming. If you're spamming, this ain't going to help you. Nothing's going to help you. You're pretty much lost. But as long as you're a good, decent person, you're going to get a good, decent reputation, and you're not going to have any problems inboxing. And that's what I use now. Because I use this now because I get better results, because it's all my reputation. My reputation is no longer tied to Aweber's reputation, and Aweber's reputation is also tied to everybody. So as long as I don't do anything wrong, my rep is not going to tank all of a sudden overnight. Nobody's going to shut me down now. Nobody's going to tell me that, hey, Brett, we decided we don't want you anymore, and I'm going to be out of business. And nobody's going to tell me who I can import. Nobody's going to tell me who I can mail and what I can mail. I have complete control over my business. I've now taken that most important thing of my business, email, and I put it all back into my control. Does that make sense to everybody?
Everyone's saying yes. Take control. Yes. Awesome as usual, Brett. There's a comment here. So yeah, go ahead, Brett. Show us a little bit inside of how this works. People are asking questions about that.
So the first thing you're going to do when you use this is you're going to go into your settings section, and you're going to fill in your settings. And there are not a lot of settings. There's a couple of settings here. Your SMTP host, which is a really, really fancy way of saying type the word mail before your domain name. So you actually say it's rutecky.com. In order to put my SMTP host in, I type in mail. Your SMTP port, almost always 25, 99.9%. It actually defaults to 25, so most times you don't even have to type anything in there. Your username and your password, that's your cPanel. Anybody who has a website knows what cPanel is. You type in your username and password. Your from email, that's the email that emails are going to come from. It's what people are going to see. Your name, because you want people to see your name and not your email address. It looks better. And then your bounce email, that's where your bounces are going to go to, so the system can track your bounces. Now, you might see something here where it says physical address. So you have to type in a physical address for CAN spam. That is a CAN spam requirement. I actually spent a lot of time reviewing all the requirements and all the RFC guidelines to make sure that this was sending out emails the correct way. One of the things that I noticed is you have to have your email, your physical address at the bottom of all your emails. So you go ahead and type in your physical address here. Incidentally, that's one of my rental properties, so if anybody's going to come over, I won't be there. You go ahead and type in your bounce tolerance. So if you send out an email, for me, if I send out an email to somebody 4 times and it bounces all 4 times, they say, hey, this email is not available, this address isn't available, I'm going to stop. It's just like calling a number and it being the wrong number. You might call it back, make sure you didn't type it in wrong, or but eventually you're going to say, okay, I got the wrong number. So you put in your bounce tolerance so that people can be automatically unsubscribed if they keep bouncing. And your throttling. Throttling is very important because people are going to have different servers. They're going to have different levels of servers. And depending on the level of server you have, you may be able to send out emails faster, or you may be able to send out emails slower. Now, if you're just getting started, you have a cheap shared hosting, that's fine because you don't have a big list. So you can send out your emails a little bit slower because you don't have as many emails to send out. You're going to want to go ahead and put in the throttling. Again, if you have a new beginner, you're just getting started, you don't have a big list, you don't need to send out emails so fast, you can use a shared hosting, a cheaper hosting. As you grow, as your list gets bigger, you're going to want to send out your emails faster because you've got a bigger list, you're going to want to get a better hosting, so you can go ahead and change the throttling. This way, the system can grow with you. So it could start being, on a shared hosting, and as you grow, the system can grow with you as well. Once you have your settings set up, you go ahead and send yourself a test email just to make sure that the settings are correct. What I did when I set it up is I just type in my regular email address here. I send test. If I get the test email, I know I set it up right. If not, you got to go ahead and check your password, make sure you typed it in right.
I'm going to answer this question right here, Brad. Someone's saying, if your list is small, what should the throttling numbers be? Your throttling numbers are going to be based upon your server. So if whatever company, if it's HostGator, GoDaddy, or there's tons and tons of them out there, you're going to want to just check with them. They usually have documentation on it. If you search it, or if you just put a chat message to them or ask them, they'll tell you what their numbers are. Everyone's going to be different.
Yeah, the thing about throttling in servers is when you send out an email, it uses a lot of the server's RAM. So if you have a $7 shared hosting and you're sending out a whole bunch of emails, you're trying to send out, say, 5,000 emails in an hour, and you're only paying $7 for your hosting, you're only renting a small piece of that server. If all of a sudden you're using 35% of that server's RAM, they're going to call you up and say, hey, dude, you're using a little bit more than you're paying for. So that's why they generally say, look, if you're using our cheap, low-end shared hosting, we only want you to use 5% of the server resources because we also sold that to a bunch of other people on that same server in order to make the cost up. So they'll send you that. They'll give you the throttle. You can actually see here, it'll tell you how many you're sending out per hour too. So I'm sending out 18,000 per hour at my current setting. As you change it, it will tell you, so that way you can go ahead and set it to what your hosting company recommends for your plan level. Once you have your settings all set up here, you go ahead to lists, create your list. You can see I actually have a couple of lists. This is my main review list, 10,881. This is people who I send to my reviews to. Everybody that goes to my blog, and most of my affiliate marketing goes to my review list. My early bird, that was from my Facebook ads. You can see my beta tester list, 227. I actually had several hundred people test this with me because it's not good enough to test it on your own. You have to have independent people test it before you release it. I go ahead and click on that Create New button. And you can go ahead and create a list. Just enter a name for your list. Name it anything you want. It's only for you. You're the only one that's going to see it. And if this is important, though, you want to go ahead and enter in a subscriber message. You want to tell people how they got on your list. Because, when they go in and read your email, they might forget about you. They might forget that they opted in. So you go ahead and you put a little message and say, you're getting this email because blah, blah, blah. And I like to put in at the very end of this subscriber message, if you don't want to get future emails, please feel free to unsubscribe to be immediately removed. I always put something like that at the end of my lists because this automatically puts in an unsubscribe. So if you tell them that, hey, we will be immediately removed, they're very unlikely to click spam. They'll just go ahead and click that unsubscribe link. Once you have your list created, you go over to the subscriber section. You can go ahead and add new subscribers manually. You can upload subscribers in bulk. If you have subscribers, please don't scrape any emails and upload them in bulk. This is not a spamming tool. Only email people that you have the right to, but you can upload them in bulk. And, of course, if you go to the list, back to the list section here, you can go ahead and click on this icon, and you can create a sign-up form as well. You can create. I realized that, and when I first built this, I was just making my own sign-up forms by hand, but I realized that a lot of people probably don't have the ability to code sign-up forms. So you go ahead and just enter in your settings, your tags, change the aesthetics, colors, and shapes of the buttons and stuff. Enter in your redirect URL. When you're all done, you click on Generate Code, and now you have a sign-up form that you can put on your squeeze pages. You can put in any of those page builders that accepts form code as well, and you can go ahead and do that. As you start building up your subscribers, you'll want to start emailing them. You got some subscribers, you got a list, now you're going to want to start emailing people. Go ahead to the messages section. You can see all the messages that I've been sending out here for my reviews. Go ahead and click on New Message. Select the list that you want to send to. Type in the email subject. And then type in your email here. This is a WYSIWYG editor, so you can highlight it. You can send a test to yourself, because a lot of people like to do that. They'll send a test to themselves to make sure they don't have the spelling error, make sure their link works. When you're all done, you click on the Save Message. I'll actually set a message. Let me see. I got a Brett-only test list. I'll show you guys how to send. We'll just call this Brett's test.
Am I on that list too?
I don't know. We'll go ahead and send a test here, though.
It says Brett-only, but I don't believe it.
Say, hey, Brett. Hey, Brett. You're talking of.
As always.
All right, and that's kind of small text, so we'll go ahead and make it bigger. We'll just use the WYSIWYG editor to make it bigger. And it's going to enter in a link, too. We'll type in, click here. Let's make it go to my blog, because I don't know my blog address. I got to email it to myself. Go ahead and click OK. All right, now I don't know. I'm not going to send a test to myself because there's no spelling errors to check or anything. So I'll just go ahead and click on Save Message. Take me back to the system. It shows me the message subject, list, Brett only, test list. It says status not sent. I can edit, I can delete it, or I can send it. So let's go ahead and send it. I don't know if you guys just heard my phone go off. That was my phone telling me I got a Gmail email. Let's go check our email here. There's my test right there. I'm talking to myself again. I'll go ahead and click on it. There you can see it says my address. There's my unsubscribed message. I just have, hey, Brett, it's Brett because it's my unsubscribed message. And you can see it says click here to unsubscribe from these emails. My clickable link, because I did put a link in the email that we just tested with. I got to click it. Should take me over to my blog. Everything's fine. We go back to Mailit here. Let's go ahead and check on my messages in Mailit. See it there. Go and view the stats. And, of course, 2 were sent, 1 to my Gmail, 1 to my Yahoo. I didn't open my Yahoo yet, so it was only opened 1 time. It's a 50% open rate. I did click on it. It's a 50% click rate. I didn't unsubscribe, so there's no unsubscribes. If I want to, I can actually click on this button here, and it will send to anybody that hasn't opened. And that's something that's a powerful tool for people that are doing marketing. You send out an email, and some people, they miss it. It gets caught up in their inbox, so you send to the people that didn't open. You resend a new mail to them. And that's really all there is to it. It's that easy to send emails with Mailit. Me personally, the thing that I like most about it, like I said, though, is that it's in my hands now. I'm never going to get shut off. I'm never going to have that sinking feeling in my gut again.